Hey folks, welcome back to episode number 7 of Spitball of the Day. Today I'm going to talk about the value exchange as a follow-up to episode 6, which was about poaching employees and why I think it's great. I need to talk about the value exchange to clarify a few things from the last episode. In order to better understand the relationship between the employer and the employee, as I talked about, you need to understand the value exchange. The value exchange is based on the fact that every single day as an employee, I come to work for this. And I trade this, which my employer has, for this, 1 hour, which I have. And that's the value exchange. The value exchange is the value that I bring in 1 hour to what my employer will pay me for that hour. So if I get paid $15 an hour, it's based on the value that I bring in that 1 hour. It's pretty simple, okay? When my value goes up, that's when you get a raise. That's how you get a raise, is your value goes up, okay? Too many of us are stuck on the thought or the concept that our employees are investments. An employee isn't an investment. An employee shows up and he trades 1 hour for a certain amount of money. Okay? The employee that shows up and adds the value, tries to give more in that 1 hour than he's making, is due for a raise. A lot of us are stuck on what's called the Peter principle. The Peter principle is based on the theory that you should give raises and give promotions to people based on their performance in their current position. When you do that, then they're excelling at their current position, and then you give them more responsibility and more compensation to compensate for that. The Peter principle is based on that if they're performing well here, they should be able to perform well here. Well, what happens is eventually there's a cap there because the people's responsibility level, their level for the responsibility or their value just it runs out, and there's a cap there. And so you end up topping off, or you end up capping off these employees at a place where they cannot perform how they should, and now you have bad employees. Okay? The opposite of that is understanding that every single day our employees show up and they give us an hour and we pay them money. And that's the value exchange. You have never, in all your years of business, paid money and then had your employees work for you. That's how payroll works, is they work a certain amount of hours and then you pay them money. That's why they're not an investment. If you put the money in and then they did the work, it'd be a different story. But that's not the point here. The point is, if you want to invest in your employees, if you want your employees to stick around, like I talked about in the last episode, then you need to better understand your end of the bargain, okay? And maybe it goes beyond the money that you're trading for the value. You want to invest in your employees, you need to lead them. You need to get out of their way enough to a place where they can do something that you didn't think they can pull off. Rather than putting them in a position where they're required to perform or they're fired, getting out of their way enough to say, this is where we're going, this is how we're going to get here, go. This is like, help yourself. And letting people fail, letting people make the mistakes, letting people learn, letting people grow, and understanding that you are giving them what they want. Listening and actually hearing what your employees are looking for, and then delivering on that and using that up. And that's how you can literally guilt trip your employees into giving back to you, because you have given them so much more than the simple dollars for hours exchange. So the question of the day is, if you want to invest in your employees, what's the one thing that you're going to do to make that happen today? What's the one thing that you can do that's going to make the difference for them? And my suggestion is, it has to do with listening, and go beyond the compensation and go beyond giving them a 50 cent or $1 raise, you will find that if you do that, if you can focus more on them as a human being and understand their long-term goals, figure out what is their goals, and then figure out how do you level them up to that place. So leave a comment in the comments box, and I want to hear about this. I want to hear a discussion around this too, because I want to make sure this is making sense, and I don't need to bring more clarity to the value exchange. So leave a comment and let her rip. Thanks, guys.